Hello and welcome back. Thank you for tuning in here today. We're going to take a look at the mind today. I mean, it doesn't have any shape or form, so it's not looking at it in the sense that we would look at this screen, for example, or a pen, or a book, or the sky, or any other what we would call physical object. Not like that. But what we're looking at is the mind, and we're going to talk at length about choice. A choice that you have, and you do have it, that we all have right now, when else, to select, to choose. And our choice is far simpler than we make it to be. We think we're choosing between multiple options, multiple careers, multiple different products at the store, for example. Yet we have one choice. And as you may very well imagine, it's much deeper than are we having a salad or are we cooking our vegetables tonight? It's much deeper than simply which produce to select at the produce aisle in the supermarkets. It's much deeper than that. We have one choice, and simply enough, there are only two options. That's it. That's all. And A Course in Miracles repeats this idea and stresses it and presents it to us in different places in the Course and in what appear to be different words, so that on what appears to be a different day, we may get it. And may that day be today for you. That would be very, very cool indeed. And if you've had these experiences, you know exactly what I'm talking about, where you, boom, just something clicks, we would say. Something just makes sense that previously didn't seem to make sense. Yet when this moment arrives, you recognize you've always known. Mm, yes, exactly. So, what we're referring to here is a choice between the Holy Spirit or the ego, a choice between truth or illusion, life or death. You may certainly characterize it that way. Between God or the ego, between light or dark, truth or illusion. I mean, there are many different ways to put that in language. That's the choice that we make here in the present moment. And we see the choice that we make because we want it. So we have a very powerful opportunity right now to choose the Holy Spirit. And, well, you might ask here as you run through what we call our lives, why should I make that choice? Well, each and every one of us, in fact, does know the answer to that. And this is something that I often repeat because, well, so it appears we all need to hear it a lot. Yeah. That's, you've always known. And we're all here on this journey, this path, walk, marathon, sprint, maybe? I don't know. This thing that we call the spiritual path, we're here because we've been listening to the Holy Spirit. And you don't have to call it that, but that's why you're here. That's why we're all here. It's why we're even interested in spirituality, because let's face it, there appears to be a whole lot of other stuff out there. The world appears to be full of stuff. The internet appears to be full of stuff. Yet here you are. That's very powerful. Each and every one of us is far more powerful than we give ourselves credit for, than we could possibly imagine. And you may have an active imagination, which is great. And if you've been doing this course for a while, perhaps your sense of this is even larger. No, I don't know. We have this choice, and the ego is always talking. It's loud, isn't it? This voice for separation, of fear, of hatred and blame and judgment of every other living thing, and judgment of yourself, too. Well, let's not forget about that. This sense of being separate from every other living thing and separate from God, the ego, a false psychological construct. It's a mistake, actually. It's not real because there is no separation of any kind. Yet we continue to want to believe that there is because we identify with this and we identify with our job title, with our relationship status. We identify with this, we identify with that. Da 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 da, and on and on and on until we discover that we're completely frustrated, sickened, and overwhelmed because we've sliced and diced what appears to be reality into so many component parts that we can't put them all back together again. The puzzle lies on the floor with several pieces missing. Oops. That's why we're all here, because we know that there is a different way of looking at things. Let's choose that way. That is the Holy Spirit. Call it whatever you want to call it. That is truth rather than illusion, light instead of dark. The ego always wants your attention and will clamor and will shout and will scream and wildly gesture to you. And if you begin to ignore it, and when you begin to ignore it, it stops pretending that it's your friend and stops trying to entice and persuade you with hot, shiny objects. It then becomes brutally violent, and it is very violent. It stops pretending it's your little buddy and gets really mean. I mean, really mean. And again, if you've experienced this, you know what the Course refers to here, pretty much. We learn best through experience. Yes, it has value to understand these ideas with the intellectual thinking mind, but the intellectual thinking mind is incisive. It breaks things down. It's not capable of experiencing truth. Can point to it. We're pointing to it right now. But each and every one of us must experience it. How do we do this? We put the teachings into practice. Forgive, 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 forgive. Relax and trust the Holy Spirit. Rinse, repeat. Say it as many times as you can think of it, as you can and must. It is in doing the Course that we learn it. That is because our experience shows us. It demonstrates to us that these ideas that we're talking about, which sound far out, maybe, I don't know. I mean, maybe you're thinking, this guy's really kind of messed up. This thing, this course, what? Those thoughts are common enough, and we've all had them. There's nothing new about that because the ego is always shouting at us. It's always talking loudly, and we don't have to listen to it. We could choose instead to listen to the voice of the Holy Spirit. To the ego, separation is the natural state of affairs, and even though it's brutal, there's nothing you can do about it. Separate one, right? That's the ego talking. I mean, it's the voice that says in so many words, life sucks and then you die. That's what it continues to say, shout, attempt to get you to adhere to over and over again. And you don't have to do that. This is the choice that we all have in the present moment. And if you find yourself thinking, well, I really don't have a choice in that, well, actually, you do. You just made that choice. If you say you don't have a choice, that's a choice for the ego. Let's all be very clear. Let that land however it lands for you. It's very important. It's very important to recognize that we have the ability to choose right now, even if we don't want to. Refusing to choose is choosing the ego because that's where we all appear to be, and it's more of the same. Yet there is another voice, capital V, by the way, that we could listen to here. It's the voice for God, as it's known here in the Course in many places. The Holy Spirit, call it whatever you want to call it. By the way, it is very appropriate. It's not a person, not a man, not a woman. It's not a dude. So that's just where we appear to find ourselves with this choice. So, why would we want to do it? Because our faith in the ego has led us to complete dissatisfaction with our lives, suffering, frustration, doubt, lack, sense of lack, pain and fear, a deep, bitter sense of loss. And at times it just may seem passable and okay, and at other times it might seem really, really harsh and grievous and visceral. Yeah. And our experience alternates, goes up, down, up, down. And yes, we have moments of joy here. We have romantic candlelit dinners. We cuddle up to a puppy or some cute baby animal or hug a grandchild. And there are moments, beautiful sunsets, yeah, beautiful walks on the beach or in the mountains or wherever. And then maybe the very next instant, down we come crashing again when something happens. It's a roller coaster ride, and nothing that we here experience in the world as pleasant or serene lasts. It doesn't. Our faith in the ego has led us off a cliff over and over and over again. And we approach what really is the same cliff on a different day, and then we go off it again, and we're surprised at the painful result. It's not particularly flattering, nor is it intended to be. And you're now, if you weren't before, aware of the choice that you have in the present moment. You cannot go back. You can choose the ego over and over and over again, but you'll always know that there's another alternative. And you actually have always known. That's why, again, you're here. Faith in the ego is suffering. It's a continual round of the same stress, guilt, blame, hatred, and fear over and over and over again. Yet there's another voice that we could listen to. To this voice, the Holy Spirit, miracles are natural. The ego wants you to think and believe that minds are separate, that there are 8 billion plus human minds, and then animals have their own separate mind, and every living thing has its own separate mind. Separate, separate, separate. The miracle, extending love to your brother, true forgiveness of the Son of God, demonstrates to us that there is no separation of any kind. Minds cannot be separate. There are not 8 billion plus separate human minds. There is one mind. Minds cannot be separate. That means there's one. So when you lash out, if there's one mind, and there is one mind, when you lash out and blame somebody and judge them, who are you judging? If there's only one mind. That's quite right. You're judging yourself. Now, when you forgive, when you overlook all of the drama and see what appears to be someone else as they really are, when you extend them love and true forgiveness, who are you forgiving? Mm, yourself. Very powerful. The ego does not want you to even entertain this. You don't have to listen to it. I mean, you've watched to this point, so you're quite aware that you don't have to listen to all of that psychosis. There is only one. There's one mind, oneness. When you extend forgiveness, you're forgiving yourself. There is no separation of any kind. Yeah, it may appear that you're forgiving somebody else or a group of people or some situation or event that has popped up here in your experience in the world. That outward appearance is symbolic of an inward condition. Forgive it. You're forgiving yourself. There's one mind. One. So the miracle always changes your mind. This is a course in changing our mind. When you extend love, when you, under the guidance of the Holy Spirit, forgive, you're changing your own mind. There is no other. So each and every time one of these conversations happens here, there are many things that we would call deep and profound about this course. Yes, you deserve nothing less. I mean, haven't you danced around enough? Many people come to A Course in Miracles having been there, done that in a manner of speaking, having tried this tradition or this modality, or having been raised here, eventually didn't resonate with you, and you're looking at other things. And many people have done this, they've done that. Well, you deserve nothing less than this complete depth and profundity of A Course in Miracles. So, should you choose to study this going forward, fantastic. And should you not, not a problem, right? It's a universal self-study curriculum, so it's for everybody. It's universally themed. It applies to everybody, regardless of background and regardless of what tradition or traditions you're currently exploring, if any. So you don't even have to be a course student to benefit from the message of the Holy Spirit. Oh, the Holy Spirit is part of our mind. It's not outside us. It's part of us. It's part of you. You're not appealing to an outside power in choosing the Holy Spirit instead of the ego. You're not appealing to an outside power. You're not giving your power away. When you choose separation, that's giving your power away. That's rendering yourself apparently weak and alone and highly vulnerable and miserable. And again, have you not had enough of that? We can choose the Holy Spirit in this moment, and may you do that as many times today and tomorrow and the next day as you remember to do it, quite frankly. You're aware of the choice that we all have to make in the present moment. So the more that you remember that, the more you become aware of that, the more you can do it. And watch it all add up in a manner of speaking. Watch your entire experience change. Now, it's not about just making more money or having a better, stronger bod or whatever. It's not about getting stuff in the world. There is no world. Central teaching of A Course in Miracles. Maybe this is the first time you've heard that. You're perfectly at home in God where you have always been. You want depth, profundity, good. You deserve nothing less. The separation that we appear to see and live out and play out day in, day out, never took place. It's impossible. There's only perfect oneness. You're perfectly at home in God where you've always been. This is a very big and powerful reason why enlightenment or liberation is known as awakening. This that we're experiencing here on Spinning Ball of Rock, a dream. We're waking up from the dream. So I thank you for joining me today. And when I say that you deserve nothing less than what this course says and means, that's that's true. That's the case. Because we have all spent lots and lots of time doing other things and listening to the ego's voice and allowing ourselves to be carried away. And we don't have to be. You don't have to be. So, to the extent that you have questions, they're more than welcome here. This is spirituality, it's deep self inquiry. What else, right? So, questions are more than welcome here. If you've got them, please feel welcome to leave them here in the comment thread. And I do take a look at this with some frequency, so I will see them. And if you'd like to pop in and say hello, please do that. I'd love to hear from you. This is, by the way, an international community. One of the cool things about using the technology of YouTube and the internet is it's got a big reach. The Holy Spirit knows what he's doing, after all. This technology that is widely used to spread hatred, fear, and total disinformation in the world, no matter where you live, can also be used to share the Holy Spirit and love. That's what's going on here. So I thank you for joining me. If you have not yet subscribed, please do that. This is the prompt in the corner of your screen. So when you hit that icon, you'll be invited to subscribe and join us. And go ahead and do that. Several videos appear each week. And yeah, well, because we need these reminders as adult learners on the path, i.e., stubborn adult learners on the path. And that's the case, isn't it? Because we have so given our mind over to this thought of separation that its undoing appears to be a process. Now, here we are, here you are, and there is no coincidence. Not by accident have you continued watching this video. So I thank you for that. Subscribe again if you haven't. Please ask questions if you have them, and I will see you soon.